Hey guys, it's Kusi. Today is a good day, as Blizzard just dropped a big, juicy, throbbing set of Mythic Plus changes that will finally actually do exactly what they should. They changed the game.
I'll be damned.
We all heard the complaints of everybody and their fat Uncle Ron about Mythic Plus doesn't have a good reward system, it's not beginner friendly, the difficulty curve is too steep, and for once they actually listened. We get changes to loot, currency, achievements, progress and dimension difficulty. So before we go into a quick deep dive on what these changes mean, cause Blizzard is ultimately just fixing a problem they put out themselves with Season 1, we will talk about if I personally consider these changes good or bad for the community, which I'm absolutely certified to tell you as the one and only overlord of pugging, the daddy of LFG, and the diddy of nevermind. But first, make sure to leave a like as well as consider subscribing, as I'm bringing all types of content before Season 2 and even better stuff once Season 2 launches, with our very first Zero to Hero with all the new changes. So buckle up, grab a drink, and let's talk about this. In order for you to understand these monumental and some would say game-changing changes, we first need to take a quick look on how Mythic Plus works at the current season. Blizzard mentioned before that they want to make sure higher levels mean new challenges, which ultimately just became true for two specific key levels. +7 cause you actually get punished for dying, and +10 cause all of a sudden tanks get their nuts kicked in faster than I got projected at school. And well, the ultimate challenge of course, getting invited. However, let me explain. Currently the seasonal, or more likely the expansional affix, Silent Thought's Bargain, starts right away on the +2 level, followed by a rotating tyrannical affix for more boss problems, or fortified, which makes trash pretty much rough to play. As mentioned, +7 will give us the Challenger's Peril, which increases the death penalty from 5 to 15 seconds. This already got nerfed, as the first 5 deaths of the dungeon are only 5 seconds and everything after that is 15. However, you also loot the second highest gear from the end of the dungeon reward from now on. +8 just adds the highest currency in order to upgrade or craft gear, though the change in difficulty is very small compared to 7. And we got the arguably biggest road bump for the majority of players, which is +10. In here, you now have both fortified and tyrannical present, which means on top of the extra scaling that +10 has anyways, everything will be more lethal, but you do get the best rewards possible from your vault. Beyond that, the only thing mentionable is +12 keys, as in these key levels and above, the Celadot's Bargain affix disappears and gets replaced with Dalato's Guile, to furthermore make everything in this dungeon hit harder and live longer. So far so good. Let's look over the changes of each key level at a time. First of all, Mythic 0 now drops Champion Track, and thank Lord for that. The 4 out of 8 veteran piece was such a clickbait and a turn off to do Mythic 0 in the first place. Good change. Furthermore, in the latest update, Blizzard is swapping around some thresholds for certain affixes to appear. For example, instead of appearing in +2 keys right away, the Bargain affix now starts at +4. +2 and 3 are now simply entry keys that have absolutely no extra difficulty attached to them, besides the added timer. But hearing from some people in my rant about Mythic Plus a few months ago, even just the added timer has brought more people to a burnout than Mythic rating. Disregarding, I got mixed feelings about the delay for the seasonal affix to 4. On one side, I get it. Entry level. There needs to be a way for new players to adjust themselves towards Mythic Plus and not be too overwhelmed with too much going on. However, I think it's potentially a bad call to remove the arguably most important and not arguably the only affix you need to play throughout the season from the beginning. Playing the Bargain affix is legit the only new mechanic every dungeon brings with them, if we compare to Mythic 0 that is. Now granted, I don't believe it's a bad thing by all means, to give new players a more chill time in early keys. But I did see that even on +10 keys to this day, the affix doesn't get played proper, and often results in party-wide punishment, which is why I believe in the earlier the better. We had plenty of conversations about that during our live streams, which by the way you can check out on twitch.tv/CozySlayer, as we are live multiple times a week. Not a plug, but whatever. One idea was fantastic. There should be a quick 2 to 3 minute scenario every new player needs to play once per account before going into Mythic Plus, in which Blizzard shows you every unique affix and how to deal with it. That way, I think you would lift some of the fear or anxiety of fresh players, because they at least know what to expect. I think it's a good call, and if you're a new player watching this, let me know what you think about this. Now, as I mentioned, +4 is the key level where the Bargain affix appears, which continues to rotate in a 4-week circle. Yet 2 of the biggest changes are ahead. While +6 keys now drop hero item tracks, +7 will make life a lot more difficult with the addition of Fortified and Tyrannical, but also reward the highest crest now as well. This ultimately means just 2 important things. You can farm hero items very freely on the +6 bracket, as there's still no extra scaling happening due to Fortified or Tyrannical. And +7 will be a huge jump in difficulty now that could be a party pooper in the future. The core idea of Blizzard here is that you technically could farm and upgrade your hero gear to 4 out of 6, which would be 619 in the current season, before attempting the next big step in +7. Overall, this is fantastic. Not only will this trigger a very solid and validated reward difficulty for newer or more casual players, it will also be an insanely good spot for returning players or alts to quickly grab some decent items, as again, there is no extra difficulty steroid on the enemies yet. Very much appreciated change to the +6 bracket that is absolutely needed. +7 now dropping the Gilded Crest as a reward for extra difficulty from either Fortified or Tyrannical also makes sense. Smart move. Challenger's Peril also disappears. No more extra seconds for dying, which also was something the community heavily demanded, and I agree. We played 4 expansions without extra punishment, we can do one more. Everything else will most likely stay the same. +10 still has both enhancing affixes present, but will reward a myth item in the vault. But now step aside, you filthy casuals, and let the big boys talk about the big keys. +12. Again, reminder, in +12 and above, the playable Saladet's Bargain affix disappears and will simply be replaced with yet another HP and damage done steroid for the entire dungeon. The steroid disappears however. Period. Instead, +12 now is the bracket where the Challenger's Peril will be introduced, to add triple the amount of death penalty for dying. The idea behind this seemingly was to make the actual key difficulty not be too spiky compared to 11, but also still make it more punishing and harder to bounce back from misplays. And you know what? I think that's good, considering you don't need anything beyond 10 for gearing purposes, and at this point, you just push keys for fun. A certain punishment should be in place, and I like this a lot. Wrapping up the changes that compared to Season 1 and 2 head to head, let's talk about the extra features that Mythic Plus will get with the upcoming season. Before, Blizzard announced that there will be a third legacy achievement called Keystone Legend, which is a rating of 2850, and at this point, all keys on +12 or lower can no longer automatically deplete during a run. That's gone. Instead, there probably will be some minor milestone achievement in place that will prevent all keys to drop below 12 whenever you timed all the dungeons on 12 or above. Same goes for 13, 14 and so on. This ultimately is a better call, and I'm sure those people pushing for rank 1 will appreciate that. But wait, there's more. Finally, there will be a mount to show off once you prove that you are a real one in the Mythic Plus scene. This mount was supposed to be part of the Keystone Legend achievement at 2850, but got pushed to 3k instead. In the current season, you pretty much needed everything on 12 timed and then a few 13s to add up to 3k. For reference, my mage currently has all +12 dungeons done and I'm sitting on 2950. Now, this sounds like a lot, however, don't forget, +12 keys are also slightly easier to do in Season 2 due to the disappearing of the Guile buff. I don't play PvP at all, but I'd assume getting 3k Mythic Plus score is still a lot easier than getting Gladiator. And mind you, the mount looks fire. I mean, we all remember the boring ass Dragonflight reskins that couldn't even fly in the world of dragon riding. But step aside, you filthy lizard, because the future is here. Look at this bad boy. The same red eyes as you after a casual 19-hour gaming session, cleaner edges than me after visiting a Turkish barber, and the backdoor that has Diddy feel all kind of ways. And it can fly. Fuck yeah. Now just add the damn weapon enchant illusion so I don't have to pretend that I like PvP for 1 week of the season, please. But this is it for today. A lot of changes that overall look phenomenal, and by saying that I mean, thank you Blizzard for creating problems nobody ever had just to make us pay up for a solution we didn't need in the first place. Also, remove Theater of Pain please. Peace!